Yo, what's up YouTube? What's going on today? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I want to talk about Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 3. Upon reading this chapter, everything has added up to what Boruto is trying to do to the tentails. So before I get into the tentail stuff, I'm pretty sure you guys have already read the chapter, so I'm not really going to go through it too much. But this theory all starts off with Boruto and Code. Boruto and Code fight off, and Boruto uses a Rasengan Uzuhiko against Code, and he annihilates Code. He literally rips his asshole anew. Upon ripping another hole in his asshole, Boruto decides to give Code the option of does he want to die or is he going to give up the tentails location. In this case, Code does not say anything and Kawaki comes and attacks Boruto. Now, what does this have to do with the tentails? Boruto is trying to get to the tentails location. The reason he's trying to get to the tentails location is because Boruto wants to fix the tentails. As we see later in this chapter, when Sarada is with the ninja who got absorbed by the Grime Claw, she says that he is not dead, and the other shinobi says that maybe this tree is defective, and Sarada says that a divine tree is supposed to eat an Otsutsuki, but they'll probably eat anything. The only reason they eat anything is because Code infused his own chakra inside them, and he literally corrupted them, and thus they're attacking and eating everybody and becoming a tree. This means that this tentails is actually corrupted because of what this shinobi says, saying that this is a defective divine tree because it devoured the wrong things. Sarada says she doesn't know, but she says that the people are still alive, and the reason Boruto is trying to find the tentails is actually to fix the tentails so it stops attacking people, and rather than attacking people, it only goes after an Otsutsuki of what it's supposed to originally do. Now this goes back to my Sasuke idea of what happened to Sasuke and Boruto trying to revive Sasuke. It is a possibility, but Boruto is not technically trying to revive Sasuke, he's actually trying to fix Sasuke. We know that Sasuke always goes on these unique undercover missions where he infiltrates somewhere. We've seen that when he went to the tentails dimension originally. Now in this case, when Sasuke went somewhere to infiltrate or look at something, he encountered a Grime Claw, and when he fought that Grime Claw, the Grime Claw bit him. Upon biting him, Sasuke turned into a tree, and so Sasuke turning into a tree, Boruto let Code find him so that Boruto can fight Code and find the tentails location. And this is just a speculation of what happened to Sasuke, but I do think Sasuke did turn into a tree. That's why when he came back to the village, he doesn't look at Sarada or anything. He just tells Sarada we'll talk later. Boruto's first priority was getting to the tentails, and upon seeing what happened to Sasuke, he knows that if the Grime Claws are unleashed on the earth, they'll basically eat everybody, and this will be the worst possible outcome as according to Boruto back in chapter 1. So Boruto is really trying to get to the tentails who is corrupted and drained, and he's trying to fix the tentails because Boruto is an Otsutsuki, so he might be able to implant his own chakra into the tentails and make it a complete Otsutsuki type of tentail again, because as of now, Code has corrupted the tentails using his own chakra, and we know Code is not an Otsutsuki. So Boruto plans on finding the tentails, and he plans on infusing his chakra in the tentails, and maybe that will allow Boruto to have control over the Grime Claws, and thus everyone who's been absorbed by the tree, they're most likely going to become normal again, and that includes Sasuke and Bud. But I think with everything this chapter is showing us, I think it is a possibility, because they do mention Sarada and the ninja talking about the tentails are supposed to eat Otsutsukis, but in this case they're eating everybody else and becoming a tree, and we also get to see Bug become a tree himself. So I think they're actually foreshadowing that everybody who's absorbed by the tentails is alive, and most likely the tentails is corrupted, and thus Boruto's true mission is to find the tentails and fix it, because he knows that if he does not fix the tentails, the whole earth is doomed. So that's my theory from what I got from this chapter. I think it's a possibility that that's Boruto's true plan, though I do have a few other theories as well, especially with Boruto being from the future and Boruto's other purpose for getting the tentails, which is also to revive Sasuke by planting the chakra fruit. Now there's a few things in this chapter I do want to go over, and that first off being Rasengan Uzuhiko. We've seen the power Rasengan Uzuhiko has, and I personally think that this is actually a Shinjitsu, because if you notice, Boruto is not doing anything and Uzuhiko is basically moving on its own. He doesn't have to do nothing. So I think this might be a Shinjitsu similar to Shibai's, where he's able to make storms and everything with the wave of his hand. Boruto being an Otsutsuki, it could be possible, but Boruto is actually harnessing the power of the earth. He's not using his own chakra, because he knows that if he comes in contact with an Otsutsuki like Kawaki, he can easily absorb something that is not natural. So in this case, Boruto is using the energy from the earth, which is natural, to fight against Otsutsuki level threats. So Boruto's Rasengan is OP as fuck. Now the question is, who taught him something like this? I think it has something to do with Kashin Koji and Sasuke, but also at the same time a bit of influence from Momoshiki as well, because Boruto knows that he's an Otsutsuki. That means he has access to Momoshiki's knowledge, and with that knowledge he's able to create new Shinjitsu. Now another thing to note is Boruto's attitude towards his friends versus Sarada. Now if you notice back in chapter 1, Boruto's attitude towards Sarada is more warm, as in this case when Boruto's friends and Kawaki confront him, Boruto says, I'm trying to make a deal, do you mind not interfering? Like he doesn't want to talk to them because he knows that they're against him. As for Sarada, that is somebody dear to him, so you get to see the parallels between Boruto's outside character and how he acts with Sarada. Now, the next thing that got me is what Kawaki says to Boruto, where he says, "It's been 3 years, what's with your outfit? You and Uchiha adoptee now?" I think this is actually hinting to Boruto taking the last name of the Uchihas. We do know that Boruto is an outcast and he doesn't have a last name, just like how Kawaki didn't have a last name. So in this case, Kawaki saying you're an Uchiha adoptee is actually Kawaki foreshadowing the future of Boruto, that Boruto is going to take the last name of Uchiha. So it's going to be Boruto Uchiha and it's going to be Kawaki Uzumaki. So I think that is a foreshadow, especially if borusara is endgame and they plan on continuing the Uchiha lineage. Now the second thing with this panel is when Boruto says, "I'm glad to see Himawari looking well." There's two things to take from this. First thing is that Boruto is actually happy to see Himawari is doing good. The second is, if Boruto has seen the worst possible future, he's seen that Himawari is dead. So him seeing all these people is actually shocking, especially Himawari, meaning that she may possibly die in the future, and he's actually glad to see that she is looking good. And low-key, it is possible that everybody in the future does die. I'm not sure if you guys remember back in the anime episodes when Kawaki was dreaming, he saw everybody dead. He saw Sarada and all of them, they were all dead. So what if in this case, Kawaki had a Otsutsuki dream where it shows him the future, and that everybody dying in the future is inevitable. Now the next thing that throws me off is what Boruto and Kawaki talk about in this panel. When Kawaki says, "If you come to die at home, I'll help you," Boruto says dying in Konoha isn't that bad, but not today. So what if this is actually a foreshadow that Boruto is gonna die in the future, but not in Konoha, which is why Boruto says dying in Konoha doesn't sound bad, but not today, meaning that somewhere in the future, probably outside Konoha, Boruto possibly saw his own death. That's why he says dying in Konoha isn't that bad, meaning he wouldn't mind dying in Konoha instead of dying outside somewhere. So it's possible Boruto's seen a possible future where he's seen himself dead, or maybe even others dead. Now with that being said, Boruto says dying in the village wouldn't be that bad. I think this is Boruto trying to tell us that he's in agonizing pain, and that he wouldn't mind dying if he gets out of this pain, because Boruto is in a constant state of turmoil, where he had everything taken from him, and now that he has not much to live for. So he's like, I wouldn't mind dying to get this all over with. It's kind of sad, to be honest. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this chapter is the frog. We noticed that Boruto implanted a frog on Code, and that when Code went back into the tentails dimension, Boruto was able to communicate with the frog that's on Code with the frog that's on his shoulder. And the one on Boruto's shoulder says infiltration complete Boruto. So in this case, how is Boruto talking to the frog, and how did he summon a frog? That means somebody had to teach him how to summon a frog, and maybe even Sage Mode, and that being Kashin Koji. We do know that Kashin Koji did have Sage Mode, and he did use the frogs a lot, especially with infiltrating. He was able to watch everything. In this case, Boruto put one on Code, and he's able to see what Code is doing. So that means that most likely Kashin Koji met Boruto in the time skip somewhere, and he taught Boruto some of these attacks, maybe even how to use Sage Mode. It's also possible that Kashin Koji is the one who taught Boruto how to use the Rasengan Uzuhiko, because if you look at it, Sasuke and everybody else has never ever used the planet's rotation to make a Rasengan. In this case, Boruto is the first one. Now, if Boruto's teacher is Kashin Koji, it would make sense that somebody like Kashin Koji would teach him, because Kashin Koji knows a lot of secrets, especially him being mixed up in Kara and all the Otsutsuki stuff. He probably learned a lot of different things from Kara, and that being how to harness the Earth's rotation in a Rasengan. Especially considering if the Earth's rotation is a natural form of power, then it would make sense that Kashin Koji would learn something like that to fight against an Otsutsuki, since we do know that he fought against Ishiki using some natural elements. So it could be possible Kashin Koji could be Boruto's teacher in the time skip. So that's a lot of juicy stuff we got in this chapter. Let me know what you guys think of these theories in the comments below, especially with Boruto trying to fix the tentails and all these small panels that give a foreshadow to the future. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos to come.